What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Kevin Gates is back with the second installment of his Murder for Hire series. It's crazy because I was looking up the original date and the first one came out May 26, 2015, and then the second one came out May 27th, 2016. And I'm sure he would have put them out on the same day, but there's one thing that separates Murder for Hire 1 from the second installment, and this is a retail EP. Now, back in April when Kevin first announced this project, he said that Atlantic wouldn't allow him to drop another album in 2016. Like, the soonest he would be able to put an album out was early 2017, which, makes sense. Atlantic is a major label and they're not just going to rush out another album, but at the same time, I guess someone got wind of that video over at Atlantic and said, you know what, why would we allow Kevin to put out a free project? Even though it's not an album, we can still put it up, on iTunes, and they didn't need much promotion for it. It's not going to do Isla numbers, of course, because that success was just amazing and crazy to think of. But it's still going to sell well among Kevin's core fans, and it'll probably do more for him having it on iTunes and in streaming on Spotify and, Apple Music, all of that, than it is just to release it for free. With that said, this EP to me shows that Kevin Gates is still, very hungry. The fact that he wanted to drop another album in 2016 tells me, all I needed to know. He's really focused on continuing the momentum of Isla. Now, realistically, he could just have not put out another project this year. He could ride off of the success of Isla. The videos and, touring. He just finished up a tour. He's going back on the road with Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa this summer. So he's got a lot going for himself that isn't just about recording and putting out music. But at the same time, we live in a generation where fans are always, what you got for me now? What's next? Come on, drop something. So Kevin is kind of satisfying that while potentially building more fans. The people that say, oh, Murder for Hire 2, you got to listen to this. Those are the people that can potentially make more fans. What I liked about the EP was that it was short and to the point. Much like Isla, there's no guest features. There's one guest feature on Isla, but that's on the deluxe edition. I kind of don't count that one. And on this project, he only has OG Booby Black, his mentor, and he's on Click House. I don't really like the record, per se, but I like OG Booby Black's verse, if that makes sense. The hook to me is just, it borderlines or it goes over the border of annoying. That my Click House goes stupid. I'm not a big fan of that. It's just kind of, rambunctious, just out there, and it's repetitive in a bad way. That's the best way I can put it. Repetitive in a bad way. Luckily, that was pretty much the only song that I really wasn't feeling. But I was also kind of wondering, why he has OG Genesis, his Cut It beat. The first song is called Fuck It, and it's over that beat, and I was kind of okay, it would make sense if this was a mixtape, but this is a retail project, so I was wondering, did Atlantic have to cut the check for OT or OT signed off on this? What's the business behind that? Because if you're selling this for money, then, something had to happen in that effect. So that was kind of the one record where I was kind of what is this doing on here? He did the remix for OT Genesis, and now he has his own version on this project. So it's a good song, but it was kind of one of those moments where I was how did this get on here? The last song on the EP is called Off the Meter, and it presents another, saga in the ongoing chapter of Kevin Gates' depression and dealing with fame. He talks about how his show price is going up, his phone is blowing up, and, just being an all-around in-demand artist, but also wanting to be an introvert and not take any of those calls, not do this stuff. He wants to be alone. And, those are the type of records that initially gravitated me towards Kevin Gates, someone who has dealt with depression in the past. That was really, it really connected me to Kevin's music early on, and I like that he continues to say this type of stuff and rap about it, because it does tend to happen, and it doesn't go away when you get fame and you get money. So I'm glad that Kevin is still exploring that type of theme in his music. And the other record that I wanted to highlight was Believe in Me. This is signature Kevin Gates all around, from the sound to the hook. This is just something that you'd expect out of Kevin in a good way. It's a little detailed, but I really liked when he said, "Smell like Teen Spirit, I'm Kurt Cobain," and then he did like the little guitar sound. He's like, doo, 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 doo. It's like a little detail, but every time I hear that, I'm like, I get kind of hyped. I'm like, yeah, that's the part right there. Overall, though, Murder for Hire 2 is another good body of work. It will continue to elevate Kevin Gates. It's not going to be that project where the people start to question if he's falling off. He's not anywhere near falling off. He's getting better and better. And it wouldn't surprise me if we see another project this year, but at the same time, it's also not necessarily. It's also not necessary because Isla's still getting played. Now we have Murder for Hire 2 is going to get played. I'm sure he'll put out like random records, and then, I think the rest of the year could be spent like pushing forward like the BWA brand, BWA Ron, the DJ, or OG Booby Black, kind of, because on this project, another thing that I wanted to say that I just thought of was that he really does kind of elevate the BWA team. I mean, OG Booby Black, the only guest feature, and then he shouts out Ron a couple times. Ron's on the intro. So he really does like try to put his team on, and I think that's something that he can continue to do for the rest of the year while on tour, doing all this other stuff. But we don't necessarily need another project from Kevin in 2016. With that said, if you're new to the channel and never seen my interview with Kevin Gates, I'll include a link in the description. I promise you it's one of the best Kevin Gates interviews you'll see this year. And so go watch that. Once you listen to Murder for Hire 2, let me know what your thoughts in the comment section below. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter @SermonsDomain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.